Hello and welcome to Tabletop Oddity. My name is Jay and today I want to talk about how FFG are moving from PVC models to hard plastic on sprues. So before we start talking about that, if you like this video, at the end of the video do press like, and if you're not already subscribed, please do also consider doing that, as that really does help. So what am I talking about? So FFG's models at the minute for Star Wars Legion, they come in, they don't come in like one piece, they come in like big pieces, shall we say. They're not necessarily like the easy fit GW style. It's more like you get a body and some legs and you snap together and that's it, kind of thing. And the material that they come in is called PVC. I think I might have heard vinyl PVC, I'm not 100% sure, but that is a material that a lot of like board game manufacturers use, a lot of games just in general use. I think like the Fallout game might have used that, Wastelands. It's quite common. The other alternative material that is also quite common would be resin. I think stuff like Steamforged Guild Ball uses that. They're quite common. And then, so what they want to do is essentially change that plastic material to it's called hard plastic. It's basically more like the GW style. Now, in one of my videos, I claimed that there weren't many companies using this, and I think some people have come back and said Malifor do the GW style, Bolt Action, and probably some of the like historical stuff. It's probably seen as the best kind, the most highest quality, but it's quite expensive, so not everybody uses it. It's not like the FSG and GW would be the only ones. It's just that this is a step up. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to step up in quality, in detail, and in like quality of the material. So I'll show you a quick picture of what that actually looks like. This is a potential sprue that we could get. I think this is one of the Droidicas, I think, judging by the materials there. It might not be. This is actually a screenshot from the Gold Squadron podcast stream of this, so thank you to them. I know the Fifth Trooper did one, but I just happen to be using the Gold Squadron ones here. Yeah, they're going to come on sprues. You'll instantly recognise that if you're familiar with any of the GW style. It's pretty common. I think it's injection molding. I don't really know the technical side of this, so I'm not really going to get too much involved, as I simply don't know enough. But as far as I know, injection molding as a process is reasonably expensive. It isn't cheap, and but however, FFG said the prices are going to remain the same. So let's have a quick look at what I've written down here. Let's have a look at the pros and the cons. So let's have a look at the pros of what we had with the PVC slash resin, even though it's different material. It was easy to assemble. It's not like quite as easy as the GW push fit stuff, but everything had its place. One arm went in one hole, one leg went to another body. Easy to assemble. The downside to the material that we had, the chat with the Fifth Troopers, is that some people weren't necessarily happy about the softness of the plastic a little bit, and they weren't necessarily happy about some of the detail. So FFG are like, right, well, we'll step up our game and we'll go hardcore like this. They also mentioned about how, because they made it in a way where the joints were fixed, the arm was always in this position, for example, the customization, that kind of stuff wasn't really available. But I'm not necessarily sure that that's a flaw in the material, more in the design. Going into the sprue method allows you to then expand how you're going to make your models. So a lot of people you get people who are happy about this and people are sad about this, and it essentially comes down to the people who are sad about this are a little bit like me. This is sort of, it's not my opinion, but I definitely relate to this. I'm actually quite happy about this change, but I liked the fact that I didn't have to necessarily think that much. I could just whack them together very quickly. Like, I've bought the Death Troopers in a box downstairs. If I really wanted to play with them tonight, I could assemble them in 20 minutes. I could spray them black and sort of call them semi-done. And I like that speed, the ease of assembly. It makes the game very user-friendly, like very beginner-friendly. Going to sprues, it's going to involve a little bit more work, for sure. You're going to have to you're going to have to get clippers or a knife, take off the material, take it off the sprue, glue more pieces together, because instead of it being both legs, it was one. You're going to have each individual leg and all that kind of stuff. And that's going to be more work. And so I understand that as a complaint. They're sort of the main cons. The main pluses are, of course, what I was just talking about. You get more posability. That's really going to be like it's sort of like they all come in the same category really. Like more posability, more customization, more options. So like you're going to get different heads, different arms, all that kind of stuff. More conversions because they're going to be easy to convert. Yeah. As a hobby, if you're a hobbyist, I really like Star Wars, or you really like converting and all that kind of stuff, you're going to be having a field day here. You're like, instead of having models whose guns are like this pose, you're going to be able to just do whatever the hell you like. Converting is going to be a lot easier. Yeah, I think for those kind of people, it's literally a scale, isn't it? You either have it really easy to assemble, or you increase the difficulty of assembly to increase the customizations. Now, I do hope, and they did mention that, they said they didn't want it to get too complicated. They didn't mention GW right here, but it was definitely alluded to GW. And I sort of agree with this. If you buy like the push to fit GW stuff, I'm pretty happy. But the thing is with GW kits, if you buy the ones where you have to assemble every little detail, it can get really frustrating and tiring in my opinion. Some people like it. I just don't like that. Having to put on the little pin, or maybe they'll have a little weapon pack on the sides. I want to snooze and just like give up, because that amount of detail is insane. And then I don't like to paint that amount of detail. And yes, you don't have to paint that amount of detail, but it's be weird to have cloth that you're not going to paint as cloth because you want to be lazy. So hopefully FFG, and the fact that they mention this actually gives me hope that this is how it's going to be, in that excuse me. Oh, excuse me again. Look at this, the sound of my voice there. I'm just going to keep going. So I think like FFG are going to try and get this like middle ground. And for certain, I think that's the right call. Hopefully it will please everybody. Like we'll have all these customization options. And, the idea of going to this hard plastic, as they call it, is the fact that they think the quality of the sculpts, not the sculpts, the actual product is going to have more detail. It's going to be easier for them to do like little details and have that show out a little bit more. Whereas like on a Stormtrooper, for example, if you sprayed it, sometimes you could just get the paint too much in one of the ridges very easily and you'd lose the detail. They're hoping that's not going to be the case, so you're going to have better quality, better customization. That's the selling pitch there. And yeah, they're hoping to appease the people who are a little bit like me, who don't want to spend hours and hours and hours and hours assembling stuff. There is no real right answer to that. I think GW with the push fit models actually had a really good idea and a really like sweet way of doing it, because they're on sprues. But they would design in such a way that it would very easily go together. The downside to that is they did generally have large gaps, but you could sort of fill them in, or the way that it was designed would reduce the gaps. I'd very much like, it's not that mold lines are a problem specifically to FFG, but I'd very much like them to be designed in a way that the mold lines are next to nothing, or at least if they are visible in places where you're not going to see them on the table. Because I hate mold lines. They just do my nutting. I just wish they weren't a thing. They really pee me off. I'd very much like them to disappear from the face of the earth. Yeah, so, and one thing, if you're really, really unhappy about this change, you are probably naffed because they have mentioned that from Wave 7, essentially I think that's going to be the Clone Wars, they're hoping to retrofit. They're going to go back and do some of the models in this new kind of style. I don't know how they'll do that, if they'll just re-sculpt them in a sense, or they'll just re-splice them so that they can, instead of having an arm like that, they'll just, instead of having a joint, ball and socket joint, instead of having I don't know what they're called, like a square block to square block joint, it'll actually just have a round joint so you can place the arm anywhere you like. They're going to go back and do some of that. They did say that it's going to take a little while for them to do that. It's because it's essentially just cost to them without necessarily lots of reward, but they don't want to have the difference in quality through their production line, and obviously they've got a lot of stuff coming out. Like, I still think I would not be surprised if we're still going to see stuff like one unit, like one release every month for another, I think, like another year, 2 years. I think that might actually now be indefinitely the case. I don't know how true that is. Maybe they'll take a break 1 month here or there, but if you've got 4 factions, you've got a lot of different options. The way Alex spoke in one of his interviews, it sort of said He was like, when working on a new faction, I do this and this. And it sort of, and the fact in the interview, in the release, he mentioned other factions possibly coming along the way. I would not be surprised, due to the lead time of when they get worked on to when they get released, that Alex has probably already worked on other factions. So that is very exciting. We're possibly going to be looking at 2 more factions, maybe a year and a half after it, with the Resistance and the First Order. I would very much like it to just be like Scum and Villainy like a year after, but I'll take the First Order and Resistance. But yeah, that's going to be happening. All going forward are going to have this new style of plastic. And yeah, so I said in my little video where I was just rambling very quickly, I said not many other companies do it. I'm still intrigued what other companies have really good high quality GW style hard plastic. When I say hard plastic, I wonder if people thought I meant the soft pewter foldable stuff. No, it's specifically called that by FFG as opposed to PVC or resin. There's a technical difference. I don't know what it is. It does mean that instead of using super glue, you'll have to use plastic glue. So super glue, literally, you know, things just glue together very hard. Plastic glue, well, plastic cement as people call it, essentially it melts the plastic. So if you've ever used a GW kit, you'll be familiar with this. But yeah, it slightly melts the plastic on whatever side it touches, and then when it hardens, they're like properly cemented together. You're very, very rarely going to ever pull them apart, and that can slightly mean that when you drop them, instead of like an arm falling off, you might actually snap a bit, because instead of it being super glue, it's like welded together. But I mean, it's not really a con in my opinion. But that's it. Like, people have already been telling me how you feel about this, but where do you sit on the spectrum? I understand you might not be too happy about it if you like the easy to use stuff, and I understand, you know, you might really like customizational stuff and you might really, really like it. Do you think there is a nice middle ground? I'm hoping that they'll find, and considering they made overtures about it in the release stream, then I'm pretty hopeful for it. I would very much hate to spend hours and hours and hours assembling like drawed units. That doesn't sound fun. I want to just get them whacked together, spray them, wash them, and get them on the table. So that's what's happening. FFG are moving to sprues. I think, like, considering everybody comments on how good the GW models are, we have to give FFG some credit for at least attempting this, at least in my opinion. Like, GW gets so much praise for their models that FFG essentially copying that style is a good thing. Like, they get more praise than they get hate for the quality of the models, don't they, GW? So for me, I'm happy to wait and see. Obviously, we're going to probably wait till about September, but you know, there we have it. That's my thoughts. Let me know in the comments below what you think. I read everything. I've been trying to. I got quite a lot of comments over the Clone Wars stuff. I read everything. If I don't necessarily reply to everything, either the conversation has naturally ended, or you know, I have nothing interesting to say. But I absolutely read everything, and I pretty much comment on 99% of things. So if you do put something there, I will read it and I will probably comment. Like and subscribe. Have a beautiful day. Let me know your thoughts. Are you happy about this new stuff? Are you a little bit sad? Are you just happy to wait and see? Have a beautiful day, and goodbye. Bye, guys.